Well, here I am. All right, there we go. Yay. Hi, everybody. My name is Shawn Kelly, and I want to welcome you to my show, Into the Night. Um, just wanted to say that life has been good. What the, you know, yeah, I know, dude. I know. We started early, too. That was pretty cool. But I just want to say that you cannot see my face, and for some reason, my camera won't work on my computer. So you're going to be looking at you know, a black box with my voice coming out to you. Um, so I had a good week. Uh, we did our last investigation down at the Buxton Inn in Granville, Ohio, and I'm going to talk about that in a short while here. But I just want to say that um, it was a great week, and I'll tell you why. Because there's a lot of people out there, and and a lot of people out there that actually helped me, you know, and it kind of made me feel really good, really good. Um, and it's just I was just impressed, you know. So maybe it's like my guardian angels or my spirit guide is saying, "Hey, let's go on with Shawn. Let's go over and talk to him. Let's go help him out with situations, and it was good. Now, I still am in a very depressed mode, and I just can't seem to, come out of it. I know a lot of stuff has been happening to me personally, you know, and I just uh, I just want to shake this. I want to shake it so bad. So I continue doing what I try to do, and that is to take my medication. And I also um, try to be happy, you know. And the only time I actually got happy was when people were helping me out and I was helping them out. But in general, I'm not a happy person, and that's not like me. People, I've heard people say, well, you're getting up there in age and you're turning 60 years old, and it's just like a change of life, manopause, that they call it. And I don't like it. A long time ago, back when I started PPS, I was a happy-go-lucky guy. You know, had all that energy to get up and go to investigations, go to help people out, and then also as time went on, I guess working and you know doing other related stuff plus the investigating, I just got really tired. But I will tell everyone that I am going to see my doctor, okay, and we're going to see what we can go from there. You know, so that's where I'm at right now. I have to tell us, and I tell us every week on my show, for all the people who are having some problems, with mental illness. I do pray for you guys. I really do. And I really do hope that you actually, things work out for you because we're all in this together. Okay. And I believe it's going to work. I believe it, you know, I totally believe it's going to work. And I have faith, you know, I have faith. And with the help of just any person or someone just talking to me or someone just talking to you and just give you a hug every now and then, and and to tell you that everything is going to be okay. We're going to get that, you know. And when you do get that hug, when you do get that voice of confidence from others, when you do get the messages and stuff, you know what? Enjoy the minute, enjoy that moment. Don't wait for the other shoe to drop. Okay, because that's what we usually do. Okay, We usually wait, something good happens and you're like, oh my gosh, now, oh my, it's not going to work out. And the very next day, you're not enjoying the happiness that you got for that day. And you're just waiting for it. And then you get into that depressed mode where you're like, oh hell, here we go again. But someone just paid you a compliment. Someone offered to help you. Someone offered to give you a hug. And I'll be the first one to tell you straight out that, hey, you know, I was like that person for a long time. And now when something good happens to me, I don't wait for the other foot to drop. I enjoy the moment or for how long that moment's going to take me. So I don't have it in the back of my mind something bad's going to happen. I just accept what happens to me today. So that's what I wanted to share with you tonight. Um, it will get better, I do believe, and I'm okay with that. It's going to be good, honestly. Um, but now I want to get on with the show. Um, this past Saturday, we did our third and final investigation at the Buxton Inn down in Greenville, Ohio, and it was a great investigation. Um, and it was a really, really good investigation, per se, because we had a lot of people. But, all right, but part of that group's down, all them people, we had two paranormal groups down there that decided to go through it. And thank goodness they were there because they helped us out. They helped us get in, participate in the investigation. Uh, the first people were the first group. Her name was Kat and her husband, and they're from I think it's called the Green Gem Paranormal, and they're based out of Granville. And then we had it's the Ohio Ghost Crew from Ohio, and they were lovely. They were lovely. They helped out a lot, and I want to give them kudos. So it made the night go by quicker. But now a little history about the Buxton Inn. It's located in Granville, Ohio, and it was constructed in 1812. The building remains in use for more than 200 years. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, that's true. Um, our rooms that we stayed in were like the original rooms when it was actually built. The only thing difference that they have in there is like real electricity and real showers, and the beds are great. You know, slept really well. I don't know about you, but I know for me, if I go away and stay at a haunted place that we're investigating or staying for the night, um, I get the best sleep in the world. I zonk out, and I'm like, yeah. So haunted houses, they do pretty. I sleep pretty good there, you know. Um, but back to the Buxton Inn. It was built in 1812, and in 1865, a guy by the name of Major Horton Buxton he acquired the tavern. It was a tavern in 1865. He wasn't in the military. And you know what's crazy? Everyone thought that Major Horton Buxton was in the military, but he wasn't. That actually was his first name, you know. Um, and after the major and his wife died, the inn was purchased by Ethel Boone. Well, I can't pronounce it. Boonell in 1934, and they would call her Bonnie. Now, let me tell you about Bonnie. Okay. I remember one time we were down in they had the wine cellar where you'd have a table there, and we were sitting there and doing some, EVPs and working the K2, and all of us in that room, heard like someone was singing. Okay. We haven't gone over that time for the evidence because we have so much evidence from there. But hopefully, if we do pick it up on the EVP, I will definitely put it on the Pittsburgh Paranormal Society Facebook page, guaranteed. But she was from New York, and she was a singer, you know, and she liked to entertain her guests at the end by singing and doing like stage stuff. And so we got to thinking, okay, that and at one point, part of the time, at one part of the evening that we were investigating, nothing was really happening, and we heard that singing. Then all of a sudden, the K2 meter started to go off, and we started to ask it questions. And the one question was, "My name," we go, "Are you Bonnie?" And that sucker went up to the red. It was crazy. And she was with us all every night. Every night she was, well, during that, not at every night. Well, the last three investigations, yes, she was with us. But it just felt like a very good presence, a very good sense of feeling that there was a happy spirit in this place. Okay. And so it was funny because whenever we went room to room, different, we went to, it was the dining room, and then we went to the Blue Bar, then we went to the tavern, and then we ended up in the wine cellar. But I will tell you this, okay? Um, Either Major Buxton had a problem with us being there, or he just was a mean person, you know? I never really put up, researched anything about him. But I remember we were sitting there and we were talking to Bonnie, having a good old time, and all of a sudden you just felt this overwhelming, strong presence come into the room. And all of a sudden, Bonnie was not there anymore, you know? So we were just like wondering, hey, you know, um, did Major Buxton make her leave? Is he afraid of Major Buxton? We don't know, okay? But I know that at one time, the room was all happy, go lucky, and talking. Everyone's happy. And all of a sudden, you just felt this overwhelm of doom come over. Um, and we tried to ask Major Buxton, some questions, but he wouldn't respond. He just was not responding. And you know how you can tell whenever you feel like somebody's watching you with stern eyes? Well, that man was watching us with stern eyes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, um, so that it just like it amazes me, you know. It just amazes me, and with all the research that I have done, um, if you were a bad person when you were alive, you're going to be a mean and bad person in spirit. In spirits, I've been on a couple investigations where actually the mean spirit. I don't want to say bad because they were just mean. They weren't pleasant. That the mean spirit would, take control of the other spirits that were in the rooms, you know, in the house. And a good, for instance, is this is a while back. Oh, Lord, I'd have to say about 10 years ago. We did a house here in Pittsburgh, and the backstory to it was this lady emailed me, and she had a little daughter about 4 years old, and they lived in this old house. And so the mom was down in the kitchen, and the little girl was up in her room. Okay, and the mother was getting really, really nervous because she was, it was real quiet in the room. So she went upstairs, opened up her daughter's bedroom door, and her daughter was there talking to somebody, and nobody was there. So her daughter turned around and she said, "Hi, Mom. I want you to meet my friend Johnny." And Johnny, okay, wasn't there. And that really, really, really got on her mom's, nerve about that. And that's when she emailed us. Now, I can understand being the young mom and the daughter turning around and saying, hey, mom, look at my friend Johnny. And, Johnny wasn't there. So we went there and we investigated the place. And we come to find out it was an old Slovakian area, part of Pittsburgh. Okay. They were Slovakians that they were the immigrants that came over. They resided over there. And so we come to find out that that there were like other, ghosts in the house, and they were mainly women, okay, mainly Slovakian women. And come to find out, as our investigation continued, there was a real nasty spirit in there, a really mean one. And what he did was he was controlling the other ghosts in there, and they were definitely afraid of him. The other ghosts were definitely afraid of him. And so, in order for the spirits, the lady spirits to get us, they sent Johnny around, making himself known so the mom could actually bring us in and see what we could do about it. And so we went there, we investigated, and at the time I was clearing houses, and I still do that today. And I literally cleared this really mean spirit. I cleared them, and everything became really, really calm. Okay. Now, I got to thank you and the stuff like that, but what really amazed me the most was what really made me feel good was that I got an email from that lady 3 years ago, and she says, "I cannot thank you. Uh, I can't thank you enough for what you did for me and my family that night. Even though they did move to the eastern part of Pennsylvania," she said, "you really, really made life really good for my family." And that touched me deep inside. That touched my heart, because it just feels good that someone sending back an email saying that what we did. But back to where, ghosts, you know, they can like take control of other ghosts. They can be mean to other ghosts. Yeah. And it wasn't just that house, it was to other houses. So maybe back at Buxton Inn, Mr. Buxton wasn't a good dude and didn't like Bonnie. So, so we were down there, and I was jotting down a few things, and they're the ghosts that hang out at the Buxton. And this is funny. There's a cat, a ghost cat, and it was Bonnie. She got the cat, and she named him Major Buxton. That's funny. And the cat was all over the place. Okay. We stayed in room 8 and 9 the 3 times that we were down there. And I remember the first time we were there, that cat was actually, I woke up and it looked like a cat. You know how a cat needs, needs a pillow or something like that to lay down. I actually saw my blanket being needed by this cat. And I was like, that is so cool. I never experienced that before. And then the second time we went down there, Major Buxton, the cat, was in room number 9. And Jessica set up her little cat ball. It's a little round ball that has lights on it. And whenever it maneuvers, whenever anything touches that thing, the ball lights up. And so the cat was there playing with the ball. And she also got it on her SLS camera too. The little cat sitting on the chair. I guess the cat was like really like lover, loves animals. But this past time that we were there, the last time, this past Saturday, we were in the blue room, the blue bar room, and we started asking questions. I have an app on my phone. It's called a Necromizer. Let me see. Let me pull it up here. The Necrophonic. Okay, and honest to God, and it wasn't just witnessed by me, but everybody that was down there. You could, we'd go, is the cat here? Okay, we were wondering if the cat was here, and you can actually hear the cat purring over this app. It was really, really cool. And it purred a lot. Um, so, and what else was cool about the Blue Bar was that you could smell cigar smoke all through that bar. I mean, it was huge, but you could actually smell the cigar smell. And I think that it could have been a smoke room back in the 1800s, because back then, the guys would go to one room and the women would go to another room. The guys hung out with the guys, the girls hung out with the girls. And I believe that it was, a guy for, a smoking room for guys. And, back then they loved their cigars. So the other couple goes, then I explained Major Buxton, and he likes to hang out in a blue bar and smoke a cigar. He did smoke a lot of cigars, from what I understand, But what really bothered me about Major Buxton, the ghost, was that he wasn't friendly. He wasn't friendly at all, and so I was hoping, out of the 3 times that we were down there, that he would show some happiness, but he never did. And then there's Bonnie, like I told you before, who she loved to entertain people, you know, and what you also can hear her singing, but you also can smell her perfume too, So we smelled her perfume a lot, and it was like really. She was well known. She was really, really impressed. We were impressed with her, is what it was. We were impressed with her, and now the sad one. Okay, now there was always a little boy. I don't know his name. I think I want to say Owen. Owen, yeah. And what happened? Owen came in, and he had, like, I'm going to say typhoid. I'm not sure what he had, but they kept him downstairs in the tavern because they didn't want to put him upstairs and get other people sick. So they kept him down there, and then that evening he died. Okay. But, as we were doing, some the necro whatever tronic thing, we come to find out that we were picking up the name of another little boy, and I'm just going to say, oh hell, I'm just going to say Steve. That's not his name, but something. But we come to find out that day, that Saturday, last week, that another little boy got kicked by a horse, and he got killed down there. So that was kind of sad about that situation. But you know what? And we tried to communicate, or try to see if we could not get the little boy to or either boy come out and try to play with the K2 or give us some kind of sign that they were there. But maybe, with all those people down there all the time, that they just didn't want to come out, and I've been to investigations where we don't get nothing at all, nothing at all. And it's It was a good 3 weekends. It was. It, it was crazy. The 3 times that we went down there, it snowed all the time. Boy, was it cold. So my final thoughts on the Buxton Inn. It is definitely haunted. Okay. There are definitely a lot of ghosts in there. Okay. And it was just a good experience. The guests that stayed there at the Buxton, they part of the deal was that they got on an investigation with us. And so this past Saturday we had 46 people. And the month before we had like 42, 43 people. And so you're saying to yourself, well, how can you get everybody to do a investigation? And it worked out because we set up every one with me, Jessica, Augie was down there the second time, and the girl who used to work at the Buxton and she don't work no more. She got another room, and so we would break it up into 10 to 12 people, and they would go room to room to room to room. So it worked out perfect. And I can't thank the Green Gem people, investigators, Kat and her hubby, and also let's see what I forgot, the Ohio Ghost Crew. Okay, and they were awesome. I can't thank them enough. So if you're in Granville, Ohio, um, and you need a place to stay that has ghosts, just go to the Buxton Inn in Granville. And I can guarantee it. I can guarantee you will experience paranormal activity. So I'm going to start something new here today. I just figured. So I'm on this website with Coast to Coast. And every now and then I get an email from them on what they're going to be talking about on their show. So there's 3 or 4 items that they were going to talk about, and I'm going to share them with you, and I'm going to see I want to get your thoughts on it. Okay, the first one. This is funnier than hell. This is a Tennessee man was arrested for shooting a shotgun at a telepathic alien. The man claimed that aliens were tormenting him telepathically. Thank you for listening. It was a pleasure working with you. Thank you so much. They're a good crew. They were awesome. Thank you for coming on and listening. So this guy from Tennessee, right? He was arrested for shooting a shotgun at telepathic aliens because they were messing with his brain, and he claimed that they were all tormenting him. So he shot a shotgun up in the air, thinking he was going to do that. Thinking he was going to, kill an alien with a shotgun. That was so funny. But later on, the guy did admit that he was smoking meth on that day. So, wow. It's amazing the stories that you hear, Do I believe in aliens? Yes, I do. But do I think they're tormenting people all the time? I don't believe so. So, God bless, I hope he gets help for not, with his meth habit. But ain't that crazy? Shooting at aliens because they're messing with his brain. And in the meantime, he's on meth. Okay. Now, does everybody remember about the 9 people in Russia back in 1959 that hiked in the Ural Mountains and they all died? And many believe they were killed by Yeti or the military. They thought by the way the bodies were thrown around, their eyes gouged out and stuff like that. Wow. There's 2 guys, Johann Glom and Alexander Puzrin. Okay. Now, I really, I didn't say good on them, their names. I don't know, but I really did a bad job on their last names. But they have been doing a lot of research for the last couple years up there. And they believe that the hikers were killed by an avalanche. But if you look at the photos and you look at what happened to those people, okay, their eyes gouged out and all kinds of other nasty stuff. How can a um, avalanche do that? How? Can't. I'm sorry, you can't. Unless, there was something in that snow that was like really, bad to where it would hurt their eyes. Um, what do y'all think about that? What do you think? Do you think it was caused by an avalanche? If you want my personal opinion, I do believe it was a Yeti. I really do. I believe it was a Bigfoot. You know, um, whenever they cut themselves, they cut inside the tent out so they can escape. It's a Yeti. That's what I believe in. That's what I believe in. It was a Yeti. And about the military, yeah, possibility, but I don't think so. It was definitely. I don't think the military would actually do something to those people like that. I really don't believe that at all. But so hopefully, however it happened, um, they do get answers. I don't. I watched a couple shows on them on that situation, and it's really weird because I think they don't want to know what happened. I think they want to continue this for a long, 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 long time. Even if the truth did come out, who's to say that they're going to tell it? They're not. That's how I feel. I can't speak for the Russian government, but I know how the United States government is, and they don't tell you things. But um, so I personally, me again, I believe that it was a Yeti, no doubt. Um, another thing, another thing is that there is a haunted hospital in Minnesota for sale. Yeah, it, it's right there. It's called the Pokegama Hospital. It closed in 1940. It was a place for people when they had tuberculosis. Okay, and in 19 let's see, so it closed in 1940, and it changed hands up till 1986 when it was abandoned. Um, a paranormal researcher went there and heard children's footsteps, mysterious orbs and mist, and captured an EVP, quote unquote, watch us from hell. Now, is it possible? Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's ghosts in there. You got the Transatlantic Asylum. You got Dexmont, you know, um, and you got other abandoned hospitals, and you also got prisons that down in West Virginia, Minesville, and there are. I believe that there are ghosts there that were patients. You know, think about it, right? I'm sure they died there, and I'm sure their spirit moves on or just stays there because they have no other place to go. But I'd like to share a little bit thing about Dexmont. Dexmont is located down in Avalanche, PA, down on Route 60. And one time it was a hospital where people who had a lot of mental problems went, you know, and their big thing down there was lobotomies, okay, where they, go into the brain. And on my Raw Fear show that I put up, second episode, we were down there and we investigated the, Dexmont Cemetery. And I brought up the question, okay, I brought up the question if they did lobotomies on people and they took out part of their brain and they died, do you think they, know what's going on in spirit? Think about it. Or do they just, just wander with thought, realizing that they're dead? It was, it was crazy to even think about it. And I thought about it some more. And I personally think, yeah, definitely. Um, I believe if you mess with somebody's, any part of anybody, that it's going to affect them in the afterlife. Now, I don't know how long ago it was, but Walmart was supposed to wanted to buy that land, and they wanted to put a big superstore there. But every time they start building, the hills would collapse. They would, and they just couldn't do it because the ground wasn't too sturdy at all, and it would give way. And no matter what they did, they just couldn't, So Walmart had to, move away from there and not deal with that land anymore. And a lot of people thought it was the spirits of Dexmont, causing that. Scientifically wise, according to some engineers, the way the ground was built, and there was no way that they could put a building in that area due to that. So, could be that. That's the scientific side, right? Now, the spiritual side, yeah, absolutely. The spirits could manipulate that. They didn't want nothing to touch, because I do believe that they were going to knock out the cemetery in order to do that. So, I don't know. You know, and let's just say it is the spirits that are making that hill go down, collapse. I would say that there are some intelligent ones out there saying, okay, this is what you did to me. So I'm not going to let that happen. The only thing that's standing down there in Dexmont is one building. And at that time, I was with PPS Productions, no affiliation for my, Pittsburgh Paranormal Society. Well, it was called PPS Studios. And I'm telling you what, honest to Pete, that was the most scariest place in the world. You saw shadow figures, you saw ghosts, you heard weird noises at night. Because we were there till 1, 2 in the morning, when it came down to editing our TV show. And it's definitely creepy. Do I think ghosts, inhabit that building down there? Of course they do. Okay. But I just thought I'd bring up Dexmont about the hospitals. So back to the hospital, it is selling for $75,000. So if you have $75,000, then you're going to be able to go out there and buy a hospital. But on the other hand, the neighbors, especially the neighbor that lives next door to it don't like it there. And he wants it removed because it's an eyesore, All he sees it, flashlights at 1 o'clock in the morning when they're roaming the hospital, taking, flashes of cameras, taking cameras and stuff like that. And he just thinks they're nuts for people who go out and do that, But if you have $75,000, go to the Dexmont Hospital up in Minnesota and you can buy it. Now, there was another thing. I was checking this out, and I'm seriously want to ask you all this question. Okay. And the girls from the Ohio Ghost crew. I want you to think about this one. Do ghosts have a lifespan? Let me repeat that question. Do ghosts have a lifespan? No, I don't think so. And that's my own opinion. Okay, that's my opinion. And but according to Dr. Paul Lee of Norfolk, England, noticed a drop in activity in major hotspots across the United Kingdom. And his conclusion is that many ghosts may be dying. Lee explained that the spirit's energy is dying and may actually deplete over time. What do you all think of that? The ghosts are dying. Is that not crazy? I think that's like brutally, totally insane. And at the bottom of my notes, I put horse shit. Because, no, Ghost Day, and being, even the Ohio Ghost Group will find out that, you go to a place and you go investigate these hotspots, so-called hotspots, the ghosts are going to know what you're there for. And eventually they're going to get bored and not want to come around. No matter how hard you try. I mean, you're in one room and right next to you is the ghost. You got your K2 meters and all your equipment going. And the ghost is just out of the reach of these, the ghost is out of reach of the equipment. So no, ghosts don't have a lifespan. They're forever until they make that decision when they want to move into the light. That will be their decision. But this Dr. Pauly from Norfolk, England, I don't know, man. That's kind of crazy, Sure, ghosts feed off energy, but sometimes ghosts don't want to be bothered or they don't want to be heard, So those are 4 stories that, that I picked up, on my email from Coast to Coast. And I'm going to bring some more of those to you, as time goes on. I kind of enjoy that because just to see different things, you can only talk about your investigations that you've been on for such a long, for a lot of times, but you know what? They get boring after a while. So I'm going to start this paranormal news every Tuesday night. So we had a guy on Chasing Prophecy. I'm also the co-host of Chasing Prophecy, which comes on at 9 o'clock Eastern to 11 p.m. And right after Chasing Prophecy, my show comes on. So, and what he does is he does studies, on how the equipment works, everyday equipment. And if you go to the Chasing Prophecy Facebook page, I do believe that they put the link up. He was a good guest. Absolutely. And I, believe it or not, I forgot his name, but it was an interesting show. So what you could do is go to a Pittsburgh Paranormal Society Facebook page, and you can, listen to the show. That would be that would be so grateful if you could do that. Yeah. Now comes the time I'm getting pretty close to where I have to end the show. We're starting on a new thing here, and so I'm going to get it right. So it's time for me to pick. I picked two cards, the animal totem cards, today before I started the shows. And the first one was a rabbit. And the meaning behind the rabbit is fear. Okay. And if rabbit pops into your life, okay, you know, you have to stop talking about horrible things. You do. You have to stop talking about horrible things and about the future or trying to control the future when it's not formed yet. And I can see that because the story behind it was the rabbit and I want to say a medicine man or medicine woman were walking, and every time the rabbit hurt himself or some situation happened, you know the medicine woman would help him out, and he never thanked her or nothing like that. And so it's like, okay, the rabbit sort of, and the rabbit sort of like, oh, we say thank you, but years on down the road, um, he found, the medicine woman saw the rabbit and said, well, the medicine woman said, well, I haven't seen you for a while. What's going on? And she asked the rabbit, why didn't she talk to me? And, or why did you leave me? And he said, I was afraid of you. You should never be afraid of anybody because what it does, it really hurts, people feeling, you go out of your way to help people, but you don't want to come back and, um, say thank you or something like that. Just because a certain person has a certain gift who is willing to go out and help you, okay, be respectful to that person and show it. Um, and show that person, and tell that person thank you. Because who knows? Who knows if you don't? Now, that rabbit, I'm not going to get on with the rest of the story, but it didn't look good for the rabbit. We'll just put it that way. And the second card that I picked, it was the lynx. And the lynx have secrets. Okay. And with the lynx, if you ever see a lynx or the lynx is part of your animal totem, it means secrets. And it says here to be still and pay attention to the revelations you receive, information through omens. A high singing voice is giving you a message. And you can be sure that Mother Earth is signaling you too. Okay. So don't have no secrets, or if there are secrets out there, eventually you're going to hear about them, and it depends on how the way you deal with them. Okay. Don't worry about them. That's all you got to do is don't worry. And now it's getting like really, really close for me to close up the show. Now, I just want to thank everybody for listening tonight. I started a little earlier, which was really cool. But thank you for listening. And I'll be on next Tuesday, at the same time, 11 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. And I will be on the Chasing Prophecy radio station. That's from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Tuesday nights on UPRN Radio 105.3. And last but not least, and like I say every week, parents, please hug your children and tell them that you love them. And children, please hug your parents and tell them you love them, because a hug goes a very long way. If you can't hug, just tell them that you love them. That, trust me, it's just a feeling that's very, very overwhelming Very nice. And with that, I'm going to close. Have a good night. See you next week. Happy hunting.